Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning into my weekly Cosmic Vibes series. I'm going to talk about what energy we can expect every day this week, how we can utilize that and work through it to our benefit. So, this is the week, June 6th to 12th, where you really have to trust what is ending, allow it to end. So that very well could be relationships, that could be work, career, that could be anything in your life that has been unsettling, that's been out of alignment, that no longer resonates with you. So really pay attention because you already know deep down what was starting to walk away, what was starting to end. You have seen those pre-signs coming in for a little while. So the universe has a way of showing different signs to us, the pre signs of pay attention, this isn't working for you. Or maybe it's a contract coming to an end and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? A relationship, especially. I don't want my person to walk away. I don't want to end my relationship. Pay attention to how the relationship is in general. Are you happy? What's not working? Have a heart to heart conversation with that person, because things can really shift. This week you are going to see a new love story beginning. It could very well be more passion in your current relationship, or it can be somebody brand new coming in. There's going to be renewed passion. So if there's someone else interfering, let that person go. Is it working? Geez, Jenny, I get people saying, there's no more passion in my relationship because I'm also a relationship coach. And I'm like, let's take a look at how you can spice things up. Are you communicating with your partner? Really take a look at everything involved with your relationship. Things can work itself out, when we put in the effort, but it takes two people to make a relationship work, not just one. But I want this person, I want this person. Maybe that's not the right person for you because you're going to get redirected to the right person. So it can get a little emotional. So you're going to see that. So you will start feeling better in June. You're going to see more alignment with balancing out home life. Things that could have been really, like hard or challenging, things are going to balance out more now this month for you. Like, isn't that wonderful? Right? So you're going to want to bring on those changes. You're going to want to really focus on more of that peace of mind. What truly and utterly brings me peace? Work on it. Really pay attention no matter what it is. Like, no matter what it is. It's like, well, like doing this or that, write it down. Sometimes it's like, well, if I only had that vacation, write it down, start manifesting it, start your vision board, with that. So, it will be really hard to keep doing things that you've been struggling with, that you've been challenged with, especially if those challenges are trying to show you it's time to end, as I just mentioned. Allow what's ending to walk away. Trust the process. This is a huge year. May was the biggest month of the year. I talked about that in my other videos. You can go back and watch that because sometimes I give predictions for months to come or years to come as well. I just kind of channel and go with whatever I'm hearing and what's coming in for me. I don't force it. What's happening? Force it. I won't answer you. No, it comes when it comes, things are flowing. So this is also, of course, not the time to force or push anything. Don't do that. We are moving into the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde on the 13th. I mean, I'll talk about that next video. The wrath of Mercury retrograde starts at the end of the month. So get things done now. That's all I'm saying before the actual retrograde comes in. So I'm just going to turn on this little fan here. There we go. So now, as we start off the week here on the 6th and the 7th of June, June 6th is like when the moon is in Pisces, it's a portal day. 6-6, it can be a very high vibrational day. So really pay attention to those insights that are coming in. New doors very well could open for you in all different ways. A new career, because you are going to be making changes with your career. You very well could be like, I'm not happy here. Allow what's ending to end, you see? So things that were just, oh my gosh, not working, listen to that. So you very well could see more synchronicity coming in. Maybe it's like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I just, my job just let me go, or and all of a sudden that new opportunity comes in that you wanted. Yes, you're getting redirected. It's important to trust this. Keep your mind open because new is coming in for you. New doors are opening, ending spring, new beginnings. Oh, I don't want to let my person go. When we end a relationship, new relationships come in, right? So trust that process. So there can be good news coming in during the 6th and 7th, financial abundance, miracles. You're gonna, be seeing like your dreams coming true and your goals coming fruition. Like really, really look back onto what goals you had or what dreams you may have had. You very well could see them during these days on the 6th and the 7th. Like, you're going to be healing family situations, from the past. We could have some past memories with family, or if there has been any kind of more current family challenges or difficulties, that now can start to really heal and let go, you know? So you're going to find on the 7th and the 8th, as we move into there, of course, June 6th and 7th, there's going to be 3 zodiac signs that are going to be more benefit throughout this process. So that's going to be Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. So certain struggles, let's say, that you were dealing with in that, they're now ending and things are now going to start flowing for you and opening up even much better. It's lucky days, that's a lucky time right now. So, well, why aren't I getting lucky? You get lucky every day, I'm just saying. But anyways, you got to set your mindset to that. So the 8th and the 9th, what happens on the 8th and the 9th? You're going to start seeing the truth of what truly matters to you. You're going to be letting go even more. This just doesn't feel right. You're going to feel more in alignment with your heart because you're going to be listening to your heart more. Your heart knows the truth. If you listen to it, don't struggle it. Yeah, but I love that person. I don't want to let them go when my person is walking away. Okay, that's a different story. You got to balance the mind with the heart. There's karmic relationships that have been ending majorly this year, and it's going to continue to happen. The more we hang on to karmic relationships, the harder it's going to get. Nobody likes to go through more suffering and pain, but sometimes we have to go through a certain situation until we're like, I can't do this anymore. No matter how hard it is, it's time for me to let go. So you're going to get more of a reality, so you could get a little bit emotional during this time as you're healing, releasing, letting go. And you're going to especially see more of your soul's calling. What's my destiny, Jenny? What are you drawn to? If you could have any career, what would it be? Well, I'd like to do this or this or that. Are you working towards that? Number one. Are you taking classes? Are you, like educational wise? Are you doing research? It's really important for you to follow what you're really interested in, no matter what anybody says. I mean, I used to run companies for many years, way up there. And I didn't want to be in that corporate world anymore. It's just like, this isn't me, like money was amazing, but I just didn't want to run companies anymore in that. I just stepped down. My spiritual work, my readings is who I am. I'll always be doing my readings, no matter what, even if I won millions of dollars or came into a lot of money, I would still be doing my readings. It's who I am. So you might even find on the 8th and the 9th, this is when you might all of a sudden have a soulmate come in. Your soulmate could appear. Your relationship, as I mentioned before, could get a lot more passionate. The bond can get a lot more stronger. You might have had that heart to heart connection. You could be seeing, wow, that really is my person. I was struggling or I was unsure. Open your eyes, but keep your heart open. Open your hearts. Look at what qualities they have. There's no perfect relationships. It doesn't exist. So you'll find that during the 8th and the 9th, you will have more support from others. Maybe it's your healing you're going through and, you're getting support from others. Maybe you're stuck with something. Oh my gosh, I need help with this. People will be more supportive during this time. So just don't push or force anything right now. Just be really, really open. And what's ending, I will continue to say that. So as we move into the 10th and the 11th, you will see more clarity. You very well could be like, oh, I'm feeling more peace within. I know I made the right decision of maybe what's ended has ended. You're going to understand why things happen the way they are and what's happened even more on a profound level. That's the redirections. But we wanted this and we wanted that, and it didn't happen. Maybe that's a really good thing. But we wanted to buy that house and it just didn't happen. Maybe that house had a lot of flaws to it. Maybe it was haunted. I'm just saying. Maybe it was had so like leaks in the roof, but it was a brand new house. I don't care if it's a brand new house. There's builders that throw up a house just really so fast. Boom, 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 boom. And it's very weak. It's not a solid foundation. So trust this process right now. You're going to start new routines during this time. You're going to be really focused on doing things new. That new has been pulling you. Your soul has been pulling you for quite some time to step into the new. What did you let go of? What did you get rid of? What did you end? Look back on the 1st of January. Where are you now? Wow, I really achieved that goal. Or wow, I could start to see my dreams. Or yeah, exactly. Exactly. Trust that. Can you now see why certain things didn't work out? Can you why see now things are starting to happen now? We're on the 1st of January. It didn't. There's a reason for that. So you're going to be letting go of certain things that you thought you wanted. And you're like, wow, I have my heart set on that person or job or career or place, like whatever it is. Nothing was working out. Nothing was flowing. That's a sign it's not the right path. It's not this and this and this and that. So you could find that even as we move into the 12th, you're going to be standing up more for your righteousness. You're going to be like, I'm done. Setting travel plans, making new career opportunities for yourself. There's also important news coming in on the 12th. Communication is going to be a lot more open. So circle that. Things can suddenly change as well. You could be like, wow, with that sudden news coming in, unexpected news coming in, sorry, but unfortunately, or congratulations, this is what's happening now. Maybe get proposed. Really let go of expectations during the 12th. Like surrender it, because you're also going to be getting triggered with childhood memories again. It's really focused this week. Family situations, healing, letting go. Wow, I'm glad that challenge is over with family. Oh my goodness. Or if it's not, you could be a little bit more triggered and poked. So you will be focused on slowing down. Don't rush things. With the Mercury retrograde coming up at the end of the month, really get things done now. That's important. Don't leave it. Don't leave it. Release what is walking away. You're going to see also that there's going to be the government getting exposed more this month. They're going to be asked more questions. They're going to get questioned things. Why for this? Why for that? Corrupt systems are going to be failing. Humanities are going to be wanting more answers on things. We've had enough. We've had enough. So much more is coming out. As I've always said, you can watch my predictions video I did last December. A lot has happened and a lot is happening now, what I predicted. So let's take a look at what energy and messages the cards have to say. So I don't use cards. I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium. I never know what messages are going to be coming through at any given time. I just allow things to naturally happen. So guys who know me, you know how I am, right? All of a sudden I'll hear messages and I'm like, what? And I'll just say it. Sometimes it makes no sense. And I'm like, don't force it. And then I'll be getting messages, oh my God, like now I get it what you said. Like, oh my God. I mentioned something for someone, I kept on smelling baked pies. And I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. It was like really strong baked pies. I think it was like cherry pies or something. And that person, it was really strong. I kept repeating it, and the person's like, I don't know. And a couple of weeks go by, and they're like, oh my God, you know, I went into a bakery and I was really pulled towards getting a cherry pie, and I says, well, was it something just because I said cherry pie? And they go, no, I remembered my grandmother when I was a child. She always baked cherry pies. So old memories, childhood, you could have certain memories like that coming back as well. So when there's a loved one with a message or your guides, I will say it, but I don't force it. What's coming up? What does my guide say? I'm not going to force that, no. Or else I could just give you any answer, and I don't want to do that. So let's just have a talk with the cards and see what messages are for collectively for YouTube. Not everybody resonate with this, of course. My podcast is up this month. Probably the third week in June is when the video go up, as my guess. So pay attention to that. But anyways, let's find out what messages the spirit world has for you guys. Oops. What messages the spirit world. Make sure you guys clear your cards before you use them. Messages collectively from the 6th to the 12th of June. 6th to the 12th. Wow. First card that came down was future. Look at that. What was I just talking about? You determine your future by what you do on a day-to-day basis. I've been saying that for many, 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 many years. So focus on writing down your dreams, focus on your goals, anything like that. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be have my own business or a tradesman or a mechanic, whatever it is. Write it down. Pay attention to what you're really drawn to or passionate about. Look at courses. How do I have that career? How do I add this diploma on? Like whatever it is, really sit back and say, what is it I truly want in my future in all different ways? You're putting the jigsaw puzzle together for you. So you'll just naturally cure it. There's certain things where I'm like, I'm going to be doing this and this and that. And then I'll start writing certain things down. And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to go that route anymore, do this and that. So things change. Things come together at the right divine timing. So we have to go through certain situations to get us to where we want to be. So June 6th to 12th, what is this message? From the animal kingdom. I'm also an animal communicator. Valentino is in his little corner playing, so I don't want to bother him. Oh my goodness, I have so many toys here for him. Could open up a little mini store for him. Oh, anyways, now the card of the gorilla came out, and this is such a very cool card. This represents peace. How I was mentioning, what brings you peace? What is peace for you? If you could make a perfect life for you, what would peace be? Close your eyes, start focusing on that, writing certain things down. What brings you peace? Sitting by the water, sitting back painting, like anything, you know. For me, it's being by the water. That's one of the things that brings me a lot of peace, being by the water. Um, Look at the gorilla. So take a look at how he's kind of got, there's a half a moon, they've got the clouds, and he's got kind of like a little surfboard. I love watching the surfers, by the way. And he's got his little paddle stick. But he's right now, what is he doing? He's observing, okay, what direction do I want to go in right now? What works for me? What truly brings me peace? It could be the simplest things. Sitting back watching Netflix, watching a movie. I've actually been watching Netflix quite a bit myself, just turning my phone off. I need to take time for me more so now with certain things, right? So any little thing like that, anything, no matter what it is, you know what makes you happy and brings you peace and so on. So there's also a mask beside him, which, represents, gee, do I put a mask on or not? Why would you put a mask on and hide who you are? When you're authentic, you will attract your tribe to you. When you're not being authentic, you will attract different energies to you. And then you can be like, oh my God, it won't stay there. The vibrational frequency won't match with who you are or who you are becoming. Let end what's ending again, right? So let's have a little chat with our romance cards because this is the time endings. This is a time where potential soulmates are coming in, or you can create a really nice, stronger bond with your person. 6 to 12. What is the message from our romance angels? Romance angels, what is the message here? You deserve love. Of course you do. Of course you do. You are loved. There's people out there that like, I will never find love. I've had all of these toxic or bad relationships. My marriage ended. I've had nothing but the same thing in relationships. Start writing down what qualities you're looking for in your future partner. Be honest with yourself. There's no such perfect person. If you keep on attracting abusive partners or controlling or manipulating partners, really take a look at that. Write down, be very specific what you want. Don't go forcing and looking for that person. Allow them to come to you. Divine timing, worth the wait. We can settle with just anybody, and some people are okay with that as long as you're happy and you're perfectly content with that. That there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what's best for you. You know, here she is shooting an arrow off into the waters. And the waters actually are a little rugged in this card. So waters also represents emotions. So you can have like this background of this lake. Some people can say, oh, that lake looks really dark. It looks scary. It shows you where your emotions are. Or it can be like, wow, I love the flow of the water. Your energy and your emotions are calm. So I'll show you this closer up. See the arrow? And she's shooting it off into the distance, and there's a rocky rocks. Her mind could be like unsettled, like, where's my love? Where's my person? Everybody deserves love, and especially let's say dark forces. When I radiate every day, I send out healing energies to our planet in many different ways without going into details about everything. And I do ask the spirit world to send unconditional love to the negative energies Because if these negative energies felt love unconditionally, they would not be destroying our planet and hurting and killing off humanity and our animals, right? Because when you're doing things from your heart and speaking from your heart and being truthful and honest, that's all that matters. There's people out there that are not good people, of course. I don't need to be around them. I don't associate with them. We have to deal with people every day in our life. Of course we do, but it doesn't mean we need to hang out with them or become friends with them or you know what I'm saying? Life is a balance. I go anywhere and I can read people in seconds. A whole entire stadium, I can read that energy in seconds, even before I go there. So, just stay true to you. Stay true to you. I'll be putting out classes here. I've just been focused on other things I've been dealing with. The podcast is starting this month. First video probably go out, you know, towards the third week of June. Could go up just before then. You know, so I'm just kind of winging it. If you feel you have a good story to share with me or something important you'd like to talk to, send me an email. Go to my website, soulworkwithjennyg.com. That's my new website. My old one is gone. And let me know your story. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. Because you never know, you know, you never know when I'm going to come knocking at your door and say, hey, let's have a chat. Let's do an interview. I'm just saying. So for now, you guys, wishing you a beautiful week ahead. Let me know what's going on. Like my video, make some comments, follow me on Instagram, Jenny G Cousins. I'm all over social media. You want to book a private reading with me? soulworkwithjennyg.com. Until then, namaste.